grandfather came here in 1903 when he was 3 years old, and he was over by Calvert, and they homesteaded over there, and then they were there 5 years, and then they went back to Indiana, and they were there about 6 months, and they came back. In 1926, my granddad leased a place up here in the Tiger Butte area, and we've been up here ever since. My dad stayed over here in this area and worked with my granddad. He bought a place and a couple different places and kept adding on. And then my uncle, he was in Augusta and then Centerville, and then he moved over here in '71. My brother and I leased my uncle's place. We split it, and we each have about the same amount of land and cattle. Growing up, I really liked working the cattle. I didn't know anything different than just working. My granddad always said the best thing he can teach a kid is to teach him how to work. And he taught his kids, and boy, they taught their kids too.
I grew up on a farm. My dad was a rancher on the sideline, but I grew up on a farm in Cut Bank, and when I met John, I thought I was graduating, I was going to be a registered nurse and go away to the big city. Instead, I got brought to the ranch. I became a cowgirl, more of a cowgirl than I was before. 39 years I've lived here. I've enjoyed all of it. In fact, I have a sign in my house that says, hangs over my kitchen sink. It says, "Old cowgirl lives here with the roundup of her life." We've raised our 3 daughters. All 3 of them have ridden horses. All 3 of them have been bucked off. All 3 of them have helped calve. They help us during the summertime with haying. I've become the baler person in the last, 12, 15 years. I've done all the baling. I do all the raking. Then the last 3 years, because we've gained a hay hiker, I do all the hay hauling. And on top of cooking the meals and doing a little nursing still after, 30, 40 years of nursing in town, I've cut back on that a little bit because I'm needed a lot more out here. A bad day is when I have to stay in and do housework. I hate to dust. A good day is when I can ride around in the Gator or the Ranger and check the cows, doctor a few, put out salt and mineral with the girls. I now am taking my 3 grandkids with me. They're learning now, even being 5 and 3 years old, what goes on.
I grew up on the ranch here helping mom and dad. Graduated from school in Belt and went on to MSU. Got a degree in human geography and political science. 5 years ago now, Western Livestock Auction called and asked if I was interested in a job, and it sounded like a pretty dang good deal to me. I run the office there and run all the day-to-day things between answering the phone and doing payroll and doing all the books and closing out the sales and helping run any of the bull sales that are managed there. As I've been there, Dad and Mom have helped me build up my herd. They started by letting my sisters and I each pick out 1 heifer a year until we got up to 10, and then after that I started getting a loan and buying my own. When we were little, helping Mom and Dad would, when he was tagging calves and getting them out of the calving lot and stuff like that, during calving when they were born, my sisters and I would always have to sit in the gate. He'd give us a stick and say, "Watch the gate, don't let anything out." And it felt like we were there for hours. It was so long. Those are things that I look back at now. When I'm at certain spots, I always remember certain things. Or driving around with Dad, and he's always able to tell me things that he remembers his granddad saying or his dad saying, or he remembers when, he was a kid and put in that corner post. My family history is here. My life is here, I hope to be here the rest of my life. I don't want to be anywhere else.